guys, Aaron here from Burns Racing. We're actually with one of our sponsors, Etienne Laflèche. He is local to us, so we get to be in his shop today, see a little bit about what he has to offer. So, we're here with Etienne's personal bike. It is a 2008 Ducati 1098R. It has just about every part and then some one-off parts that Forsaken can make. The emphasis will probably be today on the triples, as that is the part that I will be utilizing this year on my Kawasaki. Unfortunately, Kawasaki was not mobile, so I was not able to bring it by, but we are going to improvise with a pretty nice alternative.
Right on. So, first things with the triples, they work, it's pretty simple. The simplest way to put it is these change the offset. Not the rake, everybody gets that wrong. It changes the offset. And people say, what's the offset? What does that actually do? When you change offset, what you're actually doing is changing the trail of the motorcycle. When you change the trail, the main thing is you can adjust how the bike handles depending on what track you want to go to. The other advantage is everything about a bike setup is sacrifice on grip, feel, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So the main thing, go back to this later. The main thing is, let's say you want to have the bike flicker faster, so from side to side you don't need as much high speed stability. Some people, when you don't have triples, you'll change ride heights. Okay, now your front end, it flicks a bit better, but by changing the ride height with the forks, you change the swim arm angle, which means you would have to adjust the rear ride height or swing arm pivots, but that's not available on all the bikes, and you don't want to take the time between sessions sometimes to change the setup of the full bike. You want to try something quick and easy, go out, ride. Was it an improvement? Yes or no? So that's why you can use the triples. You make one change, and it affects only one part of the bike. Nothing else will change. So that's the biggest advantage on adjustable triples. Most change a lot of stuff on their bikes, even for track day guys. I would say I see a lot of guys put carbon fiber fairings that will do nothing to their lap times. Why don't you spend the money where it should go out, make you faster, make the bike easier to ride. Some bikes come stock, they're good out of the box. All the bikes, especially the new ones, they're great, but this gives you the extra advantage that we were talking about earlier. You change one thing, everything else stays the same. You know right away how it does, and you don't have to be a world superbike rider. You do 20 feet with a 1 millimeter change and you see the difference right away. So back on track at full speed, you can really feel it.
Alright guys, so moving on from the triples, unfortunately the Kawasaki, with their R&D, they did not feel that a link would benefit the bike as much as what the stock parts offer. But they do make a lot of links for lots of other motorcycles, so let's get into that right now.
Right on. Okay, we've got the Ducati here, so I'll use the same link. So this link is also on our bike, of course. The biggest question with these is, what do they do, of course? So really simply put, when the rear wheel goes up in the travel, the farther the travel, the harder and harder it is to go further. So the more you go up, it's harder and harder and harder. And then what that does is at the rebound, it wants to come back pretty fast. So the reason for that is that stock bikes are made so that you can ride with a passenger. So if you're both on the bike, you're not going to bottom out the suspension. When you're on track, that has the opposite effect for the performance. So when you're pinned, especially the new bikes, like very powerful, a lot of forces are transferred. So you don't want, at the end of the travel, you come out the corner, you pin it, the bike squats, but then doesn't want to stay seated. that's when you see the guys, it just squats on squats, so it bumps, 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 which you lose all the traction. You see all your competitors go by. That is the worst feeling ever. So with these links, the forces required are more linear. So when you apply the power, the bike can squat, and there's less force for the rebound effect. So the bike can apply the power without upsetting the chassis, the suspension, and everything. So then you get a better feel, better drive out of corners, more grip. And a nice side effect of that is more tire life. So the tire doesn't have to be part of the suspension as much, so you don't beat on the tire, so more stable heat, more traction, like I said. So that way, especially at the end of a long race, like at Calabogie, lots of grip, the tire degradation is noticeable. So with these, at the end especially, you feel it's a big difference. So that's the positive effects of a linear suspension linkage. So to make this go from this to this, the process is pretty simple. We use our 3D scanner for every bike, and then once we have our 3D scan, we know the pocket where the part can fit. So we can design our parts and do all the R&D on the computer and figure out how everything's going to fit even before making anything. And then one of the biggest advantages of that is that our parts are not they're not universal parts. So if you buy a triple, the same triple won't work on a bunch of bikes. Each bike that we have a product for is 3D scan, and it's gonna work flawlessly right away. No, let's adjust this or that. It just works right away.
For the specific bike that it was scanned for?
For the specific bike that it was scanned for, exactly.
Gotcha.
And then once the 3D scan is done, we can make the part, like I said, on the computer. Once that's done, we do the coding for the machining and all, and then we just have to put it in our CNC machine. And basically you go from this to this, put it on your bike, and go faster right away.
Alright guys, that pretty much sums it up for our tour at Forsaken Motorsports today. It has been very technical and lots of knowledge that I didn't personally know until now about the parts that I'm putting on my bike. I just always knew that adjustable triples give you that upper advantage, and that was kind of what I went off of. It was really nice to learn a little bit more about the company, a little bit more about what goes into designing the triples, knowing that each triple is for a specific bike, not just a universal part. Speaking of universal parts and stuff like that, how many teams are running your products throughout?
What? Like let's say in CSBK here, the local guys, I think we have over maybe 90% of the grid uses our parts. So quite a lot, but we're in I think we're up to 34 countries now. I don't even know how many series we're in. It's quite a lot, from endurance racing to regional racers, pro racers. We're covering them all, and this is fun times for us at Forsaken Motorsports. We're growing every day. We're adding products as fast as we can. Not fast enough, but we're doing the best job we can right now, and it should be another great year.
Well, thank you very much. This has been great. Very appreciative to have you guys on board this year with Burns Racing, and I can't wait to get the season underway and see what we can do to put Forsaken Motorsports hopefully on the top step of the podium.
Right on. Thank you.